How many veterans do you meet that, I mean, have you ever, I mean, I've met a lot of veterans that come back and feel like the country owes them something for their service. And I'm just like, you know, you volunteered to do this, you volunteered to serve. So it's like, you should be thankful that you live in a country that appreciates it and loves it and thanks you for it every time they see you. But at the end, the truth of the matter is they don't owe you anything because you volunteered for this.
Correct.
And so you have to come back.
And I always look at like my dad's generation. My dad's a Vietnam vet. Like they did not have that. You know, he told me that when he finished service and he was heading home, he and his buddies decided to hitchhike all the way home because they wanted like a little final adventure. And he said through the South, they wore their uniforms and it was super easy to get picked up. And then once they kind of crossed the Mason-Dixon line, they had to bag those things because no one was going to pick them up if they were in uniform.
You know, one of the things that always like blows me away about Vietnam vets and so much of like what I do today, and you talk about like finding a mission greater than yourself, finding that next mission is Vietnam vets, man. Like some of the charity events that I do and I do with the charity organization that I work with is finding those Vietnam vets that need help. And most of the time when you bring them in and celebrate them among the community, that's the first time they've ever been welcomed home. Yeah. And you talk to those guys almost universally, said, yeah, we had that experience, but we wanted to make sure that no subsequent generation ever had to experience anything like that. Yep. And so almost universally, that's what they say. And how amazing and altruistic is that mission? You want to talk about finding purpose in life after coming home and being spit on by your own countrymen, fighting a war that in many cases, like people got drafted for to go fight, you know? Their mission was to take care of their own. Like that, I think that's profound, and that's why Vietnam vets always have a special place in my heart, man. Because, you know, it speaks to like finding meaning in the darkest of places when they're really. I mean, like those guys come back, they found their meaning. Yeah. Like they didn't wait for anybody to show them. They came back, they found it.
Because no one cared.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the thing is that's weird. You know, and you don't want to, like, I don't have the answer. I'm not a psychiatrist. Like, I don't, but it's interesting to me that, like, the World War II generation, like, no one gave a shit. They came back and they had to integrate. Vietnam, not only did no one give a shit, but people, you know, they almost had to hide their service in order to get jobs.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and then, like, you know, our generation, this is definitely the most positive that the country has been towards veterans, you know, probably since the Revolutionary War.
For sure,
you know?
Yeah.
And it almost, you know, I don't know if it's because we're more cognizant of the issues or, you know, or maybe it's social media, or maybe it's because people are so positive, there is a belief that something is owed, like you said.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
You know, like, but there does seem something different about, you know, not most people, because most veterans are succeeding. Even, you know, they get out, they succeed.
Absolutely.
But you know, 20%, 15%, 10%, I don't know what the answer is, but like there is a significant percentage of the population that's having issues that maybe are new, or a larger percentage are having these issues. And that's what I struggle with, is like, why is that happening?
Yeah. Well, I do think that, I mean, you're onto something there. It's like, you know, there are probably, I mean, veterans charities, you ever just go online and I mean, they're a dime a dozen anymore. There are so, and the VA, you know, as much as people give the VA a hard time, and I am one of those people from time to time, because I think that the VA can be improved in a litany of ways, but
regionally, some of the VAs are amazing, some of them are just garbage.
It's super decentralized in terms of what's good and what's not, but I mean, we got resources, we have healthcare, we have charity organizations that want to help us. And so I do think that creates a sense of I'm owed something, you know, and if people, you know, aren't wired into the veteran community and they've never even met somebody in uniform and they don't treat that veteran the way that they want to be treated, it can create a sense of, you know, unhealthy entitlement. You know, I always say that the road to sorrow in life is really paved with entitlement. And I think that's, you know, for the veteran community, you talk about finding a mission greater than yourself. Like, that's diametrically opposed to being entitled.
You are owed nothing. The only people that I feel are owed, if you've been injured you're owed, the country owes you, health. The
Well, of
country
course,
owes
yeah. You sign on the
know.
dotted line saying that, like, if you
Yep.
get injured, the country will take care of you.
But the reason, Bryce and Carl Monger with Gallant Few, and then a couple weeks ago we had Mike Schlitz on. I don't know if you know Mike or not, but he currently represents the Gary Sinise Foundation. If you talk to any of those guys, when they're talking, when people reach out to them for help, they are not like, what people expect is that these organizations be like, oh, you served, like, here's the hug, and
Yes.
they're not like that.
That also bothers me too. I don't like that.
I support them because they're like, hey, dickhead, like, you're in the situation because you made X decision, Y decision, and Z decision.
Yeah, you're accountable for your decision.
And
yeah,
you
exactly.
need to change this behavior.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
dude.
we're not just going to give you money.
So many veterans, or so many well-meaning civilian veterans. I mean, yeah, that is not in question. But they coddle veterans, and like, my big thing is like, this is a major issue that is promulgated through our culture, through Hollywood and the media, that veterans are broken and need to be coddled. And even if you look at the veterans memorials, most of them are like, veterans come out like all sad and sorrowful. It's like, no, dude, like, get up, take a knee, face out, pull security. You still have a mission. Like, stop acting. I mean, of course, combat's tough, right? Of course, it changes you in a lot of ways, but you have a choice in how you face life. And so I totally respect that. If these guys they're holding people accountable for their choices and helping them learn from those choices, that's so important for the veteran community today. Like, no question about it.